Okay, so since there's only two people that consciously or conscientiously watch my channel, I feel obligated to uh, take their feedback into deep consideration. Those two people would be Mr. Joel Rizzo and my brother, right? So last night, my brother Greg, he he texted me a video, right? And and I was on Ambien. Oh wow, my notes. So I was on Ambien, right? I'm gonna put my notes right here. I'm not gonna hide the fact that I have notes. Anyway, so he texted me a video, and I don't know. People text me videos and stuff, and I don't watch them immediately. But for some reason, I just watched it immediately. I mentioned I was on Ambien, right? I'm really tired still. Anyways, because I worked early, and yesterday I was even more tired. So I'm like sitting there, and I watched this video, and you could tell I didn't know right away. Well, it's an interesting video because it's one of those like top five things, right? You know, like it's a five thing, but it doesn't tell you like in the thing, like these are like but you know, it makes sense not to tell people in the title because then it would be too long. But you could put something in the bottom. But I didn't want to because it was like top five. It's five guitarists who only know one note, and then it was just kind of like it was. I kind of like I think I knew instinctively going into it that it was going to at some point it was going to attack Keith Richards, and that's why my brother sent it to me. But you know what? In the thumbnail, it had Eric Clapton in it, and that made me. I was like, "Oh, interesting, Clapton." Okay, so you know, and then I think either I called Greg or he called me, and then I gave him like really pure my really pure reaction to this video, especially being on Ambien, right? So I was really on point, and it was fresh. Um, and I was like, I'm gonna do a video on this, right? And because it's like, obviously, dude, I'm gonna do videos about stuff I like and music I like and whatever. But I can occasionally go and react to things. So that's what this is gonna be. This is a reaction video. I'm reacting to guitar meets science, right? So like, and then today I got off work and then I came home and I started watching a little bit of the video just to kind of refresh myself. And once it got to the Keith Richards part, and I was making notes, not copious notes, but like notes. So I was like, oh yeah, what was like the gist of this guy's like complaints, right? Um, because I think it's worthwhile to sort of discuss this, at least in the context of my channel. Because if anything, obviously music and stuff, right? And some philosophical insight, but then like I'm really focused on songwriting and aesthetics, right? So, anyways, let's get into this guy's top five people who he really dislikes. The number five, I think, is The Edge, and he basically is sort of like condemning The Edge from U2, if I need to say that, I don't know, for using effects pedals. Right? I'm not like a big U2 fan, and like, but the thing is it's like it, it's a strange. I think all the things that he lists, I'm gonna attack him in just the same place each time, right? So basically, whatever, dude, about the Edge and the fact that he's using these delay pedals and stuff to do things. I kind of feel, as not a big U2 fan, but as someone who I believe that U2 has at least like, let's say 24, like a 2 CD set of good music. And it wouldn't just be hits, it would be some other random stuff too. Like I wouldn't even have like certain songs on there. There are certain songs that like the Edge has played. What's Bullet the Blue Sky? I think that was like that's really good. So I think this is, I think the thing is that I don't think this U2 songs were ever built around the Edge's guitar playing. I kind of think that like Clayton, I think that's the bass player, or is it Mullins? I don't know. I kind of get the vibe that probably like Bono strumming the acoustic guitar, maybe the Edge strumming acoustic guitar stuff or whatever, or Larry Mullins and these guys. I kind of feel that they create the structure of U2 songs or whatever, and then what the Edge is doing, it's not the traditional guitar thing. It's a thing that's adding this aesthetic quality. So you could, if you were Guitar Meets Science, you could level the same complaints that you have against the Edge against Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine. But you'd be, that'd be harder windmills to turn at, right? Because Kevin Shields he did what the Edge did, but more extremely. But like he's kind of acknowledged as sort of like a genius, you know, whether that's true or not. I really do like My Bloody Valentine, though I don't find myself listening to them all the time. But that's the tradition the Edge is coming from. What he's doing guitar wise, it doesn't detract from the songwriting quality that U2 has. And like I would say, U2 has written at least 24 good songs, right? I'm not necessarily going to buy them or whatever, but he did it. So this guy's complaint is basically he's using effects pedals, which is diminishing his quality as like an authentic Guitar Hero guy. And he's not taking into account like sort of that new wave post-punk kind of scene that U2 came out of, or the fact, and he doesn't like the fact that U2 is a corporation now or whatever, but it doesn't detract from the fact that like they have discernible songs that you can kind of say yes or no or whatever to. Okay, second person he picks, and now he's getting, this is number 4 actually, now he's getting into dicier territory, is David Gilmour. And I rewatching the video right now before my video, it was very interesting because he has this, he refers to Roger Waters as the guy that wrote the lyrics, right? He kind of doesn't have a sense that like that there was a sort of a songwriting partnership to David Gilmour and Roger Waters. And I don't think David Gilmour is really an astounding guitarist, right? But two things. One, what David Gilmour does for the songs on Pink Floyd songs that he's playing leads on and stuff, they are the appropriate things to play for those songs, right? And if, as an aside to be, if you were to do the Guitar Meets Science guitar solo that he would desire, right, which would be like overly technical shreddy or whatever, then it would probably be inappropriate and kind of ruin the songs. Secondly, a lot of the stuff, if this guy liked, I started watching a video by him too about Frank Zappa, and it was kind of good. So I'm not totally like hating on the guy, even though this video is intended to totally hate on the guy. But the other thing is that if he likes like the older Pink Floyd stuff, he has to understand, I don't think he understands this, but I'll be the guy that tells him. All the stuff that has, after Syd Barrett left, and what Syd Barrett was doing was really its own thing, unique thing musically. It's kind of different from once you get past whatever, Adam Hart, Mother, whatever. All that stuff on Pink Floyd albums, especially something like Comfortably Numb, the melodicism that's brought into that song is because of what David Gilmour as a songwriter, not a guitarist, brought, right? David Gilmour, the songwriter, who happens to play guitar in the band, he made Comfortably Numb the really great song that it is. Yeah, it's a great song. And a lot of the other songs. Also, that Goodbye Blue Sky Off the Wall is a total ripoff of, I think, the Rolling Stones' Ruby Tuesday. I have to get that in there. Pink Floyd is like an overrated band, man. But this guy's wrong. Okay? So I made my point on that. 3, who does he say? Oh, he says Santana. And basically saying he's got two complaints against Santana. He's kind of saying that Santana's guitar playing is sort of redundant, and then they just got to this point where Santana just kind of sold out to be for commercial success, right? Okay, well, uh, Santana was always, especially on like, and I have Santana stuff, and I don't like listen to it all the time, but I remember like picking up some of it because I read this article in Mojo about how Santana was really close friends with Miles Davis before things kind of got weird with Miles, and it really pushed Santana to get as really out there as he could. I think that Santana's probably he's an excellent guitarist, and he was excellent through the 70s, 80s, whatever. And I think that what he did on those albums that I have, but I haven't fully appreciated, but I'll at least acknowledge that I haven't fully appreciated those, where it's like Guitar Meets Science. He kind of doesn't even, he's not even aware that they're there. He doesn't even have like the Wikipedia page on the computer as he's reading his thing. I'm not reading a thing, I'm just making this up. I'm trying to recreate the rant I had on the phone with my brother last night when I was on drugs, right? So, so Santana, he did it. He pushed the envelope. He did it. It was done. And then so now it's like the late 90s and he wants to make some money, man. So he did some okay songs, whatever, smooth. You don't have to buy it, but like it's not rag and bone, man. Right? Like I'll fight that guy. That's one of the worst songs ever. I'm Only Human. If I see that guy, I'll fight him. Gym Class Heroes, right? That Stereo Hearts, I'll fight that guy. I'll fight him also because he talked shit about Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy in a magazine one time. And also he like deserves it too. So it's not like that. It's not like they're not. It's not smooth. It's not a crime. It's not a crime against humanity. It's just a song that was maybe too popular for your tastes, right? So Santana doesn't really have anything to prove. That's what I'm saying. He did it. And now he's trying to make, he's working in a way where he can make a little bit of money off of his legacy. All those guys did that, right? So now it gets to why my brother sent me this video, and he talks about Keith. And I turned the video off now before I started making this video because I was like, he's going to say it's sloppy. But then one of those ads came up and I skipped the ad. And then like I saw a little bit and he's just like, he's saying Keith should be dead, but then he's like, he's sloppy, right? Okay. So like, and as a Stones fan, like that's my favorite band. I could probably I could go ham on Guitar Meets Science about this, right? But it's stupid, dude. Like, it's just that there's things that Keith is, to me, as a fan of the band, Keith is a bewildering sort of person because in a lot of ways he doesn't seem to be fully cognizant of how amazing he is as a guitarist. But he is, and he's constructed these really great songs. So if you just basically make this video about, and the thing is also is like, dude, part of that lineage, and it goes to Johnny Thunders and it goes to a lot of other things, is this like very cool, sloppy rock and roll vibe. And basically, going back to my main thesis, the Guitar Meets Science guy, he doesn't really appreciate songwriting. I'm going to say he doesn't appreciate songwriting in a meaningful way. And you can watch other videos on my channel where I talk about songwriting in a more meaningful way. And let's be a little Deleuzian. Future videos will explore it. It's only the seed. Whatever. I'm not gonna. I can't develop that thought too much. It'll get too conceptual. But Keith is the backbone for 70-80% of the Stones stuff. You basically just don't like the Stones if you don't like Keith. And if you don't like Keith because Keith has this very cool, hip rock and roll persona, then that's not your thing. I get it. It's a hard thing to live up to. Not a lot of people can do it. I probably tried to do it in the past. The Replacements. See, this guy probably doesn't even know about the Replacements, but they might not be big enough for him to be annoyed by them to put them in the video. A video. They wouldn't make this list. he wouldn't know who to talk about anyways. Bobby Stinson or Slim Dunlap. All right, number one, Eric Clapton, right? So, did I say, who was the guy? His name was Slim for the Replacements. He was on the last couple albums. I think he might have passed away. Someone in the comments can jump in here and like really correct me. So the last one is Clapton. And it's just like he kind of has this thing like Clapton was good, and then Clapton basically sold out, and kind of the Santana argument, right? And what I remembered from last night, talking to my brother about it on the phone, was that like I actually listen to a lot of Clapton. I listen to like albums like Backlist, and I used to dismiss No Reason to Cry, but then I bought it again used because I listened to his autobiography on Spotify. He's somebody I really like. I love 461 Ocean Boulevard. He like Clapton was so enchanted by the band, Dylan's backing band, you know, with Robbie Robertson and stuff such. He was so enchanted with them that started to really dictate what he was doing musically. And okay, I don't like anything. I listened to Unplugged coincidentally, I think yesterday, just because I had the hankering. I don't think there's anything after Unplugged with Clapton that's really worthwhile. But that's pretty good, man. You know, and I think that yeah, a lot of the dudes were doing stuff in the '80s with synthesizers and things like that, and it could be hit or miss. I kind of have a soft spot for these period aesthetics, as I did the video on the '70s period aesthetic, where there's like this confusion between like pop songwriting with certain disco and certain country aesthetics or whatever, you know. And then the '80s has its own thing. I used to hate it. I rebelled against it really hard. But you get older, and then you just are like, well, no, this has, and Unplugged really actually takes me back to a very particular memories and stuff from my youth. So it's it's poignant, not for Tears in Heaven, but the whole experience. And Clapton, he did the songwriting thing, and yeah, and then at some point he started to try to do more AOR or whatever commercial music, and that was it. So, you know, and you can take it or leave it. I actually think one of the last things he did, and I really like it, is If I Could Change the World. He wrote that with Babyface. Babyface is actually a really good songwriter. And I think that it'd be cool if Clapton had done a whole album with Babyface with that aesthetic. Lonely Stranger, which is on Unplugged, is kind of a roadmap for If I Could Change the World. I hope you're all watching this at like 1.2 speed because it's getting near 20 minutes. But it's a diss video, dude. I'm like ranting, I'm dissing this guy. I don't know him. And I just want to say something. So in the video, and this is from when I was watching it today, and he basically mentions like Van Halen and like Eddie Van Halen like melting faces while the Edge is just, you know, basically creating a soundscape that makes the U2 song more pleasing or interesting or whatever. And like people can like Van Halen. I actually don't really like Van Halen. I think they have a few good songs. U2, I like the idea of Van Halen more than I like the idea of U2. But U2 seemingly just has more songs that are good or listenable than Van Halen. So, but just the fact that you'd have like his idea of like, well, inserting Eddie Van Halen into any of these situations would at least make this band more palatable for me. Guitar meets science, right? And my argument is like, A, you're wrong, it won't, and B, you're totally losing the context or the hermeneutics of the songwriting situation where each of these people created the body of work that's there. And the thing is he probably doesn't like U2. But I think he might not really like the Stones, but I think he likes all the other bands. So it's basically just kind of like, just if only, it's an if only thing. Oh man, if only. Well, you know, if only it doesn't always, it doesn't always pan out, dude. And you live your life like saying if only, and then life's just gonna pass you by, right? Anyways, so that's my basically my hit 'em up. Remember when I used to let you sleep on the couch and beg the bitch to let you sleep in the house? Now it's all about Versace. You copy my style. 5 shots couldn't drop me. I took it and smiled. No. Anyways, so that's the video. It's too long, and it's a little bit more out there than I usually do. But I'm gonna do the gun club next, because Joel, I could tell Joel wants me to do the gun club, so I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna post this, and the longer it goes, the longer it takes to upload from my phone, but I don't care because I got a good rant in, and I got to invoke the spirit of Tupac and his greatest song, Hit 'Em Up. I should do an episode on Hit 'Em Up, dude. That's a powerful song. That, like, I once told my buddy Daniel, I said, what was it? Because supposedly, like, Saddam Hussein was having his blood slowly extracted so that he could have the Quran transcribed in his own blood. And I told my buddy Daniel, I was like, I'm gonna do the same thing, but with the lyrics to Hit 'Em Up. I don't know what I was thinking when I said that. Anyways, like, subscribe, listen to the Rolling Stones, man. And then listen to Happy Casualties. Why not?